Are you still thinking this is about you setting yourself apart? If so, I ask, did you love yourself while you were yet in your sins and set yourself apart? One good reason to carry your wife's purse. Anybody ever want to put that in the comments? I also have why pyramids? Astrology and alchemy of offering a sacrifice based on the advice of men interpreting the stars, knowing good and evil as we do today, a way to cover by atonement from a creator that provided water in due season for all the right reasons as open quote set apart humans, set apart showbread, close quote, to be used in a presentation to represent how things are set apart for God. So somebody has to do the original setting apart. Why pyramids? And offering a sacrifice, an innocent sacrifice, based on the advice of men who've had their language confused, but it was so important that they ended up on different continents interpreting the stars. And I'm going to show you that one of them has a tunnel underneath it where they dug down to the bedrock and painted it with pyrite and other glistening materials so it would shine. I think they built it over a specific, remember, all the rocks are body parts reserved in judgment of their God. Something about it. They were trying to use an innocent sacrifice. They misinterpreted this, that God would provide himself as a sacrifice. But here they go on their own, trying to know good and evil. Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. The Mud Flood was the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you or me in a fair, honest, non-violent way. I might want to say that again later. I really did like that. Am I not? I got to do the presentation thing. That'll only take un momento. There you go. Another chance to, uh, you know, remind you, you know already how to speak Spanish. You know 4,000 cognates. If I told you something was importante, wow, you habla español. You go like, he means important. Good, good. Muy bien. That doesn't sound like good, but anyway, you'll figure it out. Here's that thing I like to show. Oh, there is not the thing I like to show. Somehow it got closed off. I know right where it is, though. I keep it here on purpose so that I can rush right to it when that happens. Then I usually hit back down here. Downloads for today. Probably going to be more than a few. I see I got a purse there. Everything. It's all connected. 322. December 2021, Mark Zuckerberg purchased 110 acres surrounded Caloco Reservoir. His stated intention is to kill everybody and take over and live in tunnels. No, wait. His stated intention is to fulfill the legal requirements of the property. The property is where this guy let his bridge go so bad, killed everybody. It failed. He was indicted for manslaughter. He got let go. Somehow entered a plea of no contest to reckless endangering. In exchange for the plea, the state prosecutors dropped the 7 manslaughter. Well, does that make any sense? We're just getting started. I got to show you this picture of the dam that broke, that now is in possession of the Facebook, Zuckerberg. So here's some construction of looking down the valley, the rock protection. This is what's going on in Hawaii. This is the bridge, tunnel, dam that's owned by Dole Pineapple, Bob Dole. It just overflowed. They got too much rain, but this is showing how it ended up being built, how it ended up in the hands of the people. There's only one of them listed. It's big. It's bad. This Dole's Wahawa Dam is a hazard. They've known it was a hazard since last year, the year before. One step closer to buying it. The state's going to buy it, but nope. Zuckerberg bought it. There it is, Dole Food. The budgeted was $5 million and $21 million more for the repair. That came after its owners, the Dole Food Company, spent more than a decade ignoring it, racking up fines, and now there's trouble right now in Hawaii. And here's this, the condom fairy is highlighted there. They like to, this is the high school group that's like Turning Point, except the opposite. Somebody is in on it. This is your tax money. These children got $400 a piece for posing in that picture. The flame thicket. Oh, here's that tunnel underneath the Maya underground tunnel that they cleaned it off. And he says the flame flickered. It must have looked like the sky. It must have looked like the sky and the stars of, he says the underground, but the closed caption didn't put it on there. So I think I just saved it so you could hear him go, it's the flickering underground. Wait a minute. You mean under the firmament? I don't know what he was talking about. Hey, what about the South Pole? Is it moving exactly the same but opposite? What would make somebody ask that question to Dr. Hassenfilter? I mean, Sabine. The men in our world, you know, we're not crushing on Sabine because she's beautiful, but because she's smart. You try watching the news and the ice raids after being red pilled. This is a computer of there's this band, these rock and roll boys called Jake GTV. Anyway, their band and their videos have morphed into these other funny videos. But they're reminding us of how, remember in 2019 and when Antifa and, oh my goodness, they're rolling tanks down Ferguson, Missouri. They've been reporting out, what are these pallets of bricks being dropped off the night before the protest? Remember that? Look at this one here. Here's the bound devil conspiracy. It's no conspiracy. That's not the devil. Somebody's bound. I don't know. I don't think it's Loki. I guess this will be an eclectic show. There he is, bound. Satan was bound. I guess this just popped up. You know, all of these things that are highlighted, these are different colors, fluids in your body. They're gemstones now and crystals because we got hit by the glittering sword. We're not reserved in judgment. We're still living, but we're living stones. Don't be dumb about it. Here's a purse. Don't make too much of it. So this is the oldest purse they ever knew, the most expensive purse they ever had. And it's just a series of swastikas. Right? From top to bottom. top to bottom. That's art back in the day, huh? I don't think that was enough. I wanted to make sure you saw it, so I got really close. Did another screenshot. 5 reasons why husbands shouldn't be carrying handbags. You don't have to listen, but that's what the Asian parent is teaching this year. Now in Asia, the husbands are going like, okay, look, yeah, I get it. We pull out chairs, we open doors, but what the hell? Now there's this trend of men going like, I'll carry your purse, honey, while she carries the groceries. That's what this thing is. This woman, Nancy, who wrote this article, she's like, you got to be kidding me, man. I saw a guy carrying the purse so the wife could carry the groceries. Something's they're not doing it right. Oh, it was Sandra. I got another one pulled up by this girl named Wendy that she's not having it either. Common notion: if you're carrying a woman's handbag, you're soft, you're whipped. That's what they're teaching in the Asian parent. I don't know. Nancy, here it is. Nancy, the thing to note about men who carries girlfriends. Okay, Nancy's not married. She sounds younger when I just read this article. I'm using the word correctly. I just read it a couple hours ago. I could not hide my amusement when I saw a man frolicking around with his girl's handbag. Some girls find it sweet. Uh, she wasn't impressed. Nancy wasn't. This girl, she went over her spring break from college and rescued the puppies from a beagle farm. Sounds very suspicious what's going on at the beagle farm. But I didn't know that when she was in jail, she said, we were having a great time with our sock puppets. I guess in the jail. I don't know if her name's Phoenix. I don't think that's her natural hair color. I know it's not. Wouldn't be surprised if. So here's another thing. Netanyahu, he basically said, Jesus proves it's not enough to be moral. It's not enough to be just. It's not enough to be good. Unfortunately and unhappily, even Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. The Genghis Khan. Thomas Walsh, these are things we're going to be covering today in this show on Skull and Bones Day. I wonder if I'm sharing the screen. Looks like it. I got to get back to where I was. The Camp Bird mine, it doesn't really always go back to the 1893 Colorado crash, but my radar's on Thomas Walsh and the Walsh Mansion that was used for the WPA, the Workers Program assistance, usually building, parks and things, but the Writers Guild lived here and they rewrote the history of the United States starting in 1933. Yeah. Yeah. He said he lost all his life savings in the panic of 1893, but he came back big and still managed to build this house, the most expensive residence in the city at the time. 60 rooms, a theater, a ballroom, a French salon. Look, they found it. They gave it to the WPA rewriters of history. I had the hardest time finding out about non-Jewish genocide is depravity of man to other men too. And it's going like, well, after intentional omnicide, genocide is widely considered to be the epitome of human evil. It's a crime of crimes. Genocide, destruction. So it finally admitted there are other things besides Jewish people, because I had looked up a lot of different things and I found there have been many genocides. This is what Wikipedia says There is. The Gaza genocide is the ongoing, intentional, and systematic destruction of the Palestinian people. That's, thank you, Balfour Agreement. They've been planning for it since the 1800s. And it's got the blockading of healthcare, killing the healthcare workers, sexual raping, all these destroying, because they want to use that. It's too good of front property. It's just not good. It's a real genocide, and they know it. So the brain, they have had to mess with your brain by studying rats. Neurogenesis, wild type male rats compared with the male rats that had androgen insensitivity syndrome, something that's given to you. The genetic difference resulting in complete or partial insensitivity to androgens and a lack of external male genitalia. If you wondered how, if they just don't need somebody that needs to transition into the form of a woman like Brigitte Macron, Michelle Obama, some of the ones that people long suspected of being men have had this done since their birth and before. They're men dressing like women. Hypothalamic HPG is basically because what they call your endocrine system, it really is one system, but they don't want to admit that, or they just recently discovered it. But your body is a temple all working together, and you should treat it that way. This was hard. The human proteins containing this domain. So this MTTP, microsomal triglyceride transfer protein, is believe it or not, humans have it also, and it's what makes us related to the chicken. We make a protein that is the in between of a yolk and the white, and it's in the humans too. And they've given us a film, and so I clicked on the film so that you could see it. Where is it? Is it the North Pole one that's wandering? It's not this one. Uh, the dam has not failed. I have a good picture of that. Is it this one about the indoctrinating children? No, it's not this one either. Hey, Zach Mac, thanks for sending me that one. It's interesting. Nope, it's not about the charges dropped in this Tilson case. No apparent reason. No, I know I had it pulled up. That's the guy with the sparkling stars. Where is that one? Oh, I have it on the website. The Gaza genocide. Maybe we'll have to run into it. Water. Huh. Did I undo that peptide one? I'm so sorry, but I would just have to keep going with the pictures. So I thought we would get to see this. If you click on it, it's just a stupid 23-second thing. I made a thumbnail out of this picture. This is something I guess we'll have to look at. Well, we have nothing to do now but just go over those things. First Bible verse I wanted to look at. Here you see, you tell, you speak, may tell, you might say. So there's 5 occurrences of this, all under this word that has 2,000, remarkably transitions into 2 different types of words in a way rarely seen in my experience in the Strong's Concordance, which is probably more extensive. Look, I want to go back to this one has 22. Now we're looking at the EP. You shall say to your brother, oh, well, you shall say, whoever speaks a word against, how shall you say? Moreover, you should say, shall say. What is this word? What are we coming at here? If anyone should say, I love God and the brother more than him is a liar, hate, loving. Let's just see what the whole word is. What are we looking at here? I say, utter, speak. He is called the Christ for a reason. You know, and people, I say it, other people say it, it's written on our heart. We can't stop from confessing that he also rose from the dead. You know, these are things the scripture speaks, a thing being spoken. John 4:20. Let's look at it in the context. If anyone says, I love God and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he who does not love his brother, whom he has seen, cannot love God, whom he has not seen. Now let's look at that. Go back to that verse and look at that hate. This is that hate your enemy, and it has a number of different types here. 41. And you're going to have to, because I don't have it, but there are words in here that basically strive to prove where we at. How many times was this used? Oh, this is all of it. Let's see. Let's pick out that one that had 7 uses. See what it says. Evil, hate not his brother, hate me, but it hates me. The world hates you. So there is a lot of hate going on there. Let's look at another one. As opposed to love less. Look at that one they were using it as a capital. They hated me without a cause. I hope they don't know. You know, we can only just move on. So here's the North Pole is moving 2 years ago. The truth about Earth's magnetic pole shift. Hopefully I went back to sharing because there's so much talk, as other people say, in the short season community about what's really going on up there at the North Pole, and basing it on Ortelius or Mercator map. And, you know, it was the precursor of the globe, and yet they act like there's a magnetic mountain in the middle. Never has been the case. The magnetic mountain is outside that. But so let's just get a look, you know, and I think we'll bump into a section of these people talking about what's going on here, you know. But the Earth plasma flips. That's where the question came. Well, what about the South Pole? Don't you think we have to do that? I wonder why I saved this part. I know I showed you got the
Maschinen, Flugzeuge gehen in Flammen auf, Tanklager und Munitionsdepots explodieren. Unter rücksichtslosem Einsatz werden im Alarmstab aufgestiegene amerikanische Jäger und 4 motorige Maschinen angegriffen und 8.
You know, that's funny because this is coming from a propaganda video that they were showing in the 30s or the 1945 in the war. And it was basically no problem. You know, governments lie to their people when they're at war. They were doing fine. They had no idea that plans were in motion, that later that year they were going to be on board with China being taken over by the communists, the United States being assigned atomic weapons, everything being changed, a big move towards the globe, everything was happening then. And people that were at war, but they were still going to the movies to see propaganda reels, right? Here's that dam that the Dole owners I showed recently, just showed you the pictures. It's not failed. It just wasn't built.
And you can also see the fact that there are just a lot of brown water. Some homes were swept away by Kaukunahua Stream, which definitely overflowed its banks. Fortunately, the Wahiawa Dam did not fail. And again, we've been telling you that when we talk about a failure, that means that the water is overtopping the dam. That does not mean the dam has broken. But at least when the water levels are below that so-called failure level, that means that the water is still controlled. At last check, looking at the NOAA gauge right now at the Wahiawa Reservoir at the spillway, the water level has gone down to 83.2 feet. So it is starting to inch downward, but it is still dangerously close to the minor flooding level of 80.
The water levels are trending down, and they say these thresholds are intentionally conservative.
A little bit better now, too, because we just got the latest observation from the dam levels up at the spillway. The reservoir is continuing to trend downward. It's now to 83.1.
It definitely overtopped. This bridge overtopped and was flowing over the top. They're flooded. It's
over a foot of heavy rain overnight.
this is the storm being caused. I think that there's been a number of people like Tracy and Sean on that Brush Junkie channel where they've proven that this is controlled. We get the weather they give us. These people are being pushed out. This is the governor of Hawaii.
I was told they are safe right now, but they were having difficulty getting out because there was so much water around them.
The intense flooding comes after some areas were hit with up to
And this is the property that was recently on the island that Mark Zuckerberg is buying because they're building tunnels underneath it. They list only list of dams and reservoirs in Hawaii. This is the one that we saw overtopping. This is the one that was right next to it. This one is pretty close to it too. It failed. The man was charged with manslaughter, but now Mark Zuckerberg bought it. And now the other one is failing, and they're going to have to repair it. All the houses underneath it are washed away. And, you know, this isn't the Big Island. It's not the Maui. It's this one up here that now they're going to own this whole freaking thing. It seems like. Is that the one we're talking about? Right? Remember, there were only 3. And this is the one right now. Oh, you don't have? I wonder if there's pictures if I search it. I know there won't be a Wikipedia page. They took it down. They're saying it's going to be good, but you know, there might be a picture of it. Oh, they're the same ones I showed earlier. But it's going to be Zuckerberg's now, and they're not surprised by that. Okay, that one's got to go. Spewing. Huh. So this is that unincorporated community that has 3,000 people that live near. These are the people that are getting washed away, not the rich people on the mainland. This island is spewing it out for Mark Zuckerberg. It's not that many people left on the whole place, but pretty soon, you know, it says the median income on the is 86,000. But if they must not be counting Zuckerberg yet, because then it would be, they'd be billionaires. Well, at least 500 millionaires, half a million, millions, half a billionaire. Way to go, Zuckerberg. So I got interested, when I teach about how they faked that Hiroshima and Nagasaki got firebombed. There's no such thing as atomic weapons. I was interested in seeing the surviving buildings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and there were quite a few. There were quite a few. And the same canals as the rest of the world, and the buildings that survived. And, they got to tell the story. But Tokyo was firebombed, and it looks like this. They still have some of the old school buildings, but the people were surviving because there's tunnels everywhere in the world. Survivors, they all lived. Let's see. Significant roles in the wars during the imperial genocide, racist era. They were welcomed into white man's world. Took over China, was going to take over the world, and they said, hoo-hoo, whoa, China or Japan's out of control. But then they didn't put in Chiang Kai-shek, the man that the United States supported for 6 years. Crazy. But nobody remembers, because Germany did the same thing. They've always learned you get control of the children, indoctrinate them, and in the college you change things to try to get them to believe in atomic bombs. German philosophers, Jewish philosophers, as if they aren't two wings on the same bird.
With lectures now beginning with mandatory Heil Hitler salutes and professors sounding like military commanders. Moreover, the Nazis have now taken control of the very heart of academic thought, forcing an anti-intellectual, racially motivated change to university curriculums. The integration of racial science, Rassenkunde, is now mandatory across various disciplines. Medical schools require courses in racial hygiene and human heredity to promote state-sponsored eugenics. The humanities and social sciences have shifted focus towards the Volk, blood and soil concepts, and anti-Semitic Jewish research. Even the hard sciences are ideologically corrupted, with universities promoting concepts like German physics to purge alleged Jewish influences such as Einstein's theory of relativity.
And in his mind, isn't that aren't they stupid? They're acting like they didn't know the Earth is a globe. And how could you doubt Einsteinism? We're sorry, because this guy is like honky, man, white. He's like me. And he doesn't want to admit, wow, is it possible we're the bad guys? Anyway, so if people run out of water, and it's not good. I like the way this guy starts the fire. I'm going to show him the beginning of this. Because look how he gets in a hurry to close that door. Such a nice little tidy place.
Welcome to Henson Creek School of Country Living, and we are going to talk about how to live without running water. And there's a situation that has come up that has kind of made us think about this a little bit more. You want to tell them about your sister?
Sure. So this morning, my sister messaged and she's like, I have no idea how you can live without running water because our water's off right now. There was a big pipe that broke at the water company and they said all their reserves are empty and all this other stuff. And I don't know how long we're going to be without water. And this is not good. And so it got me thinking, I was already planning on making these wipes today, but it got me thinking that these wipes are what I told her she needed to make with the limited water that she has. That way she can wash her hands and be clean. and use a minimal amount of water. And so it made me realize that a lot of other people might not realize what they can do if their water gets shut off, and what they need to do ahead of time to prepare for in case their water shuts off.
Mm-hmm. So we have city water here. This house was plumbed for city water, and
But it's off.
yeah, I bought this farm in 2015, and I've never turned the water on since I was been living here. Now, growing up, we had a cistern, and it was,
You know, he obviously doesn't trust the city water. So there's the takeaway on that, because we'll all be dealing with water scarcity. Water is the gold. Gold is the gold. Represents divinity. Use it when you can. Water is life. What's this one say? Steel rails, durable rails. Needs a citation on this one. Oh, this is that guy, Bob Foster Mushet. So he did everything, man. He did this steel, first air hardening steel, invented Musher's special steel in 1868. This guy could get it done, man. What did he do? Look at that. He sent his daughter, 16-year-old daughter, to marry, traveled to London alone to present herself and confront Bessemer at his office, saying, you know, all of your success that changed the world and has allowed everybody in the world to use your process was based on the results of my father's work. Bessemer, whose own process for producing steel was not economically viable. They wouldn't have been able to industrialize the world without Robert Foster Mushet's method for improving the quality. So the 16-year-old signed some papers and said, well, how about we give your dad 300 pounds? It's a lot. How about we buy you guys off, and until your dad dies, we'll be giving you this much. And they paid it for 20 years. And they know, no legal action was taken, and they're just saying could have been because he was, look at me, I'm rich. He did it. This guy. He was the founder of the Dark Hill Iron Works, and he got a gold medal, and the guys started changing the world, and they could do all that metal. I think it's highly suspicious. What is this?
It goes down to the base level, to either to providing services and health services, to the other extreme, to providing, allowing people to buy homes and create generational wealth and stuff. So it does the full spectrum, but the whole point is, even yet, everybody's boat has risen from tribal gaming.
Wow. A rising tide lifts all boats, says this man who's arguing that gambling helps everybody in the tribes. He's presenting the statistics. Gambling helps every single person in every tribe that adopts gambling. I think that's bullshit. One-sided, paid to make it look like that. Just propaganda. It's bullshit. I don't know who this guy, they've been charging this guy for 4 years. Him.
Unsubstantiated from the get-go. The evidence was overwhelmingly in my support. It became really clear that they really should have never brought these charges in the first place, and that what the prosecutor was doing was not supported by the community. In fact, the community's position was entirely something different.
Tilson was charged with aggravated assault against a law enforcement officer, obstruction of law enforcement, and simple assault on an officer, all stemming from a June 2022 cop watch in downtown Rapid City, South Dakota. Tilson was facing up to 20.
Basically, there was no confrontation. It was people saying, this money is supposed to be going to help the people, not build casinos. 4 years. Who knows? At least they live in a safe place. They'll be able to watch the cities burn. It's not going to start there. I looked up water. Used to have that funny symbol when they spelled it. Original origin of Earth. Everything's a lie about water. But this was from the other day, the hydrogen, the oxygen. I really, the triple point, the fourth phase, the exclusion zone, they ignore it all. But I have a lot of Bible verses to go over here now. Let's just go one at a time. Here it is, Jude 1:20. We're looking at Haggai, like Sophia Haggai, 235, up on the most holy. So this is the word for like the most holy, like in Elyon, the most high God. So let's see what the situation is. It's the set apartness. It is holy, saints, a holy place, sanctuary, the holy of holies. So this is like, it is, the highest of the Spirit. And King James, there's never a reason or an excuse to translate that word they use there as ghost. It's spirit. Everybody knows it's spirit. And only the King James, and even they couldn't do it, into the holy city. Oh, not into the ghost city? KJV? Same word. Something set apart. Because there's righteous acts of the saints. Blessed are the holy. They're the saints. Anything set apart is a saint. There's nobody at this mythical North Pole that doesn't have a South Pole mirroring it. The North Pole is in frickin' Canada, or is it in Siberia now? Go, Sabine.
Pole is moving rapidly and no one knows exactly why or where it's going. That's quite something. I found a look. Nuclear physics is fascinating, even more so because it isn't just something you can explore with giant expensive equipment. You can do it with this neat gadget that's a radio making Earth has two.
Actually, this gadget might be very handy. So here, take a look. If anybody wants to buy one and give it to me.
This stone is a type of apatite and it naturally contains a thorium isotope that's a gamma emitter. Don't worry, it's a fairly low dose, but it's noticeably above background level. The radio code is a high.
I wonder if you could ever find the ones that are like, and I found gold in that one. So go ahead. North Pole's moving what?
Towards Siberia.
Look at, so the North Pole's never been, the magnetic North Pole has never ever been where they show it on the map that everybody goes, look what's in the center of the globe. I mean, flat earth map where Jesus might be waiting in the camp of the special saints that are living for 1,000 years, because that's what that saint means once and only in Revelation 20. You're being dumb. You're being played.
Tracking the North Pole is not some obscure obsession of geophysicists, at least not only. It has practical consequences. Because of this rapid motion, navigation systems that rely on the magnetic North Pole have to be frequently updated. North used to be a direction. Now it's a subscription service with regular updates.
No, it's not. It's a place you could get to on a boat, and it's why they made Antarctica. What about, you can't go to the Arctic, you can't go up there. It doesn't mean that's where the North Pole Island and Jesus is. It's probably where the Nazi camps are up near by the ice ring. So they don't want you to see it. It doesn't have to mean Jesus is in a rowboat and Theron and his wife is going to go up there and prove it.
The magnetic field, so they need to know when it changes. The magnetic North Pole model used to be updated every 5 years, but in 2019, researchers had to issue an...
All right. She is not a computer. She's been around a long time. Now, the ideas don't get wrapped up in Atlantis and these things. You're the set apart. The saint is holy. God chooses people to set apart other people and to set apart things that represent the showbread, to represent the pattern that Christ saw on the mount. We are the saints. The saints in Revelation 20 are like the blessed and holy is the one who's there, and it's the camp of these saints, the holy ones. These holy saints, the blessed and holy are they that didn't get the mark of the beast. And these saints, is it supposed to be something special that these saints lived to be? These guys lived for 1,000 years, and they were like almost just like right here, or they're just like the regular saints, like the saints that could die, the saints that get caught up. Are these eight? They're set apart. They're holy. They're different. Like you're supposed to be once you know your heart's been changed and you've confessed with your mouth you believe he rose from the dead. By his stripes we're healed. What becomes the saints? There's no biblical proof, but they keep acting like there is. This is that number 40 we looked at. Holy, speaking. This should be, now this is the hallowed be thy name. Something sanctified, and there's that hage, holy. Hagia Sophia, remember that holy wisdom, set apart, sanctified. God's the one that, sanctified the Bible, gave us our directions and marching orders. And it sure didn't involve, men carrying purses, is sum it up. It's sanctified. I hope you're reading some of these, It's sanctified. Now, how is this one? This one, you ever look at this in the English? 7:14. For the unbelieving husband is made holy because of his wife, and the unbelieving wife is made holy because of her husband. Otherwise, your children would be unclean, but as it is, they are holy. But if the unbelieving partner separates, let it be so. I guess you don't freak out. I guess you're not supposed to freak out. One thing, it's not so important that you'd have to go, oh, never mind. Never mind. I'll believe what you believe. If it comes to that, where she's an unbelieving wife, but she's happy that you believe what you believe because it's working in the family and she's all for you. If she can do that, then good. That's going to keep you and your children holy. But let's say she decides to go or not, accept what you believe in something. It's weird. How can how do you know whether you will save your wife? Well, you can't save your wife. Your wife has to come down to, her intention. How do you know, wife, whether you will save your husband? Boy, there's a lot to think about. Quench the power of this raging fire. Escape the edge of the sword, who gained strength from weakness, became mighty in battle, and put foreign armies to flight. man, I'm glad those days are over, right? Because our men right now, maybe we'd want to challenge them to a game of Mario Battle Kart or something, whatever that Battle Kart is a very popular game, you know? Absolutely. I got another Bible verse here. There will come days upon you that will cast around the enemies, a barricade, and they will surround you. How do you cast around? What other verses are in with that? Well, you don't get too much, but that looks pretty reliable. Let's give it a look. Your barracks. Excuse me? So now you have to doubt that superhuman near angel type people are made from the same word as saints, and now you got to worry about, oh man, is that camp even a camp that we thought was in the North Pole that has moved from Canada to Siberia since Satan has been loosed, never approaching where it shows it on that globe map that, you know, Jason, Jack, and everybody else loves. I clicked here. How? What? Will cast around. They're going to cast around your enemies. They're going to cast around the castle. You know that they left this out in Luke 19 because that they have no problem with messing with scripture, because it always means a castle, a barracks where people can comfortably hide from the elements. Acts 22. It's a castle. It's a barrack. This is where they took Paul. It's like, oh man, he's under arrest, and they still think they could kill him right in front of the Roman guards. That dude got 200 horsemen, spearmen. He guarded Paul. They were not going. Those 40 guys that made a vow, they weren't going to get Paul. He was hiding in the castle, the barracks. It's the camp of the saints. It's your pretend vision of not knowing how to study and only listen to Jason Jackson and other itchy-eared teachers that are united against what I'm trying to say here, is that the camp of the saint doesn't have jack shit to do with anything with the pretend North Pole. And all they've done for years and years is present it. And now, on this day of where people are dying of genocide in Gaza, bombed in Iran, I'm going over the same thing for years. You're going to put foreign armies to flight. It's a fucking camp, excuse my language. You know why they obscure the truth. And if you're happy with letting other people tell you, don't talk about this in front of the children. Go ahead. Oh, I had that set up already. I was going to go to it in a more dramatic fashion, it looked like. Cast around. Hey, same thing. We don't need that much repetition or reiteration or redundancy. Oh, those are the new 3 R's of real estate and education. I did it again. Armies to fight. I think I pulled up, was going to show you like every verse that was right there. They seized Paul and dragged him out of the temple, and at once the gates were shut. And as they were seeking to kill him, I was honestly trying to say seeking and shut at the same time. I don't know why. Word came to the tribune and the cohort, and all Jerusalem was in confusion. They said, we are going to kill this guy. And anyway, I thought I had it pulled up where he was going into the, oh, we better take him here. They're shouting one thing or another, and all of a sudden there's such an uproar. He said, let's go to the North Pole. There's such an uproar in Paul's deal that he's like, I can't stand it. Let's go to the North Pole. Oh no, they took him into the castle, the barracks, the safe place. A safe place that people have built in out of the way places, and we know they're in the mountains everywhere. A lot of the mountains are hollowed out. I don't want to say most, but a lot are hollowed full of barracks. And yet people insist on, no, that doesn't work because Jasher, because Enoch, and because you called yourself Paco. Did I? Did I really? I think it's pretty clear from what I have written here. It's Alan Paco or Salt Paco. Hey, come on. You could call me Paco. It's in honor of Dr. Torrance Paco Guas, the man who stood alone like I have these last few years. Barracks, barracks, barracks. Barracks. It's another one. This verse led to barracks. I think I looked them all up. Did we see the one about the North Pole is going crazy?
Del inframundo. Very easily, and they crushed Tepetate to make a base of the floor.
In total, some 715,000 cubic meters of this rock was extracted from the earth to build the entire city of Teotihuacan. The material was then carried by men on their backs for hundreds of meters. That's because pre-Columbian civilizations never domesticated animals to help them carry heavy loads.
They compensated for the lack of pack animals with an efficient use of manpower. The people were the labor force, and they were very effectively put to work in a well-organized way in order to be productive. That's one of the characteristics of Mesoamerican society.
What are they doing?
Was developed or invented is unknown, but I suspect that around 50 to 70, there was a huge volcanic eruption of Popocatépetl.
South of the Avenue of the Dead, beneath the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent, is the second main sanctuary in Teotihuacan. 15 meters below the surface, a mysterious tunnel that was discovered in 2003 could unravel the mystery. Entirely carved out with rudimentary tools, this man-made cavity is covered in a thin layer of mud and follows an east to west orientation. The tunnel stretches over 102 meters. 15 meters from the entrance, a series of 23 walls, each 1 meter thick, were built to block access into the tunnel.
The tunnel was sealed 3 separate times.
Or maybe they were discs in between 23s of your, I think, the lower part of the spine.
With walls that go from the floor to the ceiling. Then they would destroy the walls to get inside again, but we don't know for what purpose. And then they'd rebuild new walls on top of the remains of the old walls. Later, they came back, but for some reason, they left without rebuilding the walls. Instead, they filled the tunnel with lots of dirt and rocks.
Sure they did.
My theory is that for a period of time, the end of the tunnel was used to store the remains of someone specific, someone with a lot of power, most likely.
I think this is a lot of speculation, but the idea that they dug down to the bedrock at one specific point and then covered it with the glitter, and he called it the underworld.
A first-era leader of Teotihuacan.
Could this tunnel have been the tomb of the Teotihuacan kings? For the first time, archaeologists seem to be close to solving the puzzle. At the end of the first section, which is 65 meters long, the narrow tunnel suddenly drops.
The majority of the tunnel's first section was dug about 15 meters below the surface, And this here is deeper. It goes down to 17 meters. I think this whole section must have been.
They have it cleaned off down to what part of the body of the Titan have they discovered? Now, we're looking at pyramids. We're looking at the whole situation. I want you to remember what I started the show with. A lot of people came in late. Why pyramids? Astrology and alchemy of offering a sacrifice based on the advice of men interpreting the stars. Those men knew good and evil because of Adam and Eve. And they knew that. And they knew that they needed a way to cover by an atonement sins from their creator that had provided the water that is for due seasons. But there was a Tower of Babel. They confused their language. What are we going to do? They'll know good and evil. And so they all continued on what we call continents now, building pyramids with that same orientation. And did they dig down? Did you see what they exposed? And they were going to paint it with the stars glimmering. What body part would be the most important part of their God, their Titan, that died like men because they didn't rule correctly? And Jesus judged them and said, now you're going to die like men. I like them apples. And they're reserved in judgment. Like you're reserving yourself in judgment. You're a living stone. What has turned into the gold, silver, and gemstones of the people who must have thought, I wish I would have listened to Noah. That's like us saying, I'm glad I listened to Jesus. Wait till you get a better idea of what's going on now here inside the pyramid. It's all cleaned off, and they're going to paint some of it.
And how they accessed what we believe to be the most sacred and important spot of the entire tunnel. I believe it's the gateway to the real world, the truth, and the real underworld.
I don't think this guy would know the truth if it jumped up and said, here, read the Bible.
An intriguing sparkle in the rock attracts the eye. A phenomenon that's far from natural.
The entire tunnel must have been covered with this sparkling mineral powder. It's made of 3 minerals, pyrite, hematite, and magnetite, which were brought here from far away and painted on these walls.
Pyrite is fool's gold. But you know what they also say? If you're not stumbling over just an ankle deep in pyrite, you're not going to find any gold. No pyrite, no gold. It's just not, you don't find one without the other.
And even the floor of the tunnel. It must have been an extremely important religious experience to enter here in total darkness with only the light from your torch. As the flame flickered, it must have looked like the sky and the stars of the underworld.
See, they didn't show it. They didn't show the underworld. I wonder why. It's weird. Gaza is an ongoing genocide. They have to admit that. This is the Wikipedia. So it's Israel attacked them on October 7. They've been killing them now for a couple of years. And we're involved now in a war against Iran because there's a lot of blame being thrown around. A lot of blame being thrown around. We'll look at this house a little bit more in the Panic of 1893. I'm going to save that one here. I wanted to just show you some of the mansions of the Gilded Age. There's pages of it, 200 pages. We're not going to go over them all. But they occupied them, and they passed them out to their friends. Look at that one. We're going to look at that one right now. So this one, this is where they ended up putting the, they don't even mention in here that this house was used for the spies. The Gilded Age Mansion, DuPont Circle. Now it's owned by the Embassy of Indonesia. They sold it to him. The guy who built it was the most expensive house in town. He made his money in Colorado. Went broke, made more money, went back to town and built the most expensive house at the time. Unbelievable. And now it's the embassy. I had to, but it also is where this WPA met. Let's see. The Cosmos Club is a gentleman's club. Kind of like the Skull and Bones, science, literature, and art. 3 presidents, 2 vice presidents, U.S. Supreme Court justice, artists, writers, 55 Presidential Medal of Freedom winners. Have you ever heard of the Cosmos Club? Founded in 1878. Probably Dutton did it, or was in on it. No, it was the guy that first explored the Colorado River with only one leg and did the impossible. And then he went back home and started a eugenics movement, basically, and started the Industrial Revolution. And these guys did it. It was basically, another name for the Rosicrucians of the world to be in power because they were going to try to get children alone and cook them and eat them. So these guys did it. And look at, there's a lot of these Cosmos clubs around that have little outskirts. That's just for the one in New York City. So there's a different class of people, and when they hang out, they do it in the preserved old world buildings that they found, and basically they think it's theirs because they're the ones that the Illuminati or Rosicrucians, whoever it were wolves in sheep clothing that after the reaping ended up saying, now we got the papers and the titles, let's go act like we own it. Dress codes. Look at that. Should we, is it a lot? You know any of these people? I don't. Oh, well, I've heard of some, maybe. Last names look familiar and a lot, but we don't know that much about it. Let's get more modern ones. How come they're jumping? How come they're not in order? They keep going, oh, they're just in the order of their name. I wish they were in the order of their year. Here's this guy. He's in it. Right? Hey, Phil, is it like Skull and Bones? What do you do for a living? Just be smart? Are you a Freemason? Let's look at, I gotta keep going. So here's the handbag that's most expensive. Here's another handbag. In Asia, boy, men do not want to carry a woman's handbag. But there's a lot. There's Margaret Thatcher. She liked to carry a handbag. She had one that's famous according to that. Queen, handbag, 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 handbag. Enough handbags. Memory. What is this? Look at all the different ways an organism's ability to store memory. An organism? Doesn't a computer have memory? Does it? Look at all these different memories that have just come along in the last few years. Like let's say short-term memory, long-term memory. When did you learn about that? Implicit memory? I wonder what the difference is. Procedural. Well, we know what muscle memory is. It's how you can tie your shoe in the dark. And at first you thought, I'll never learn how to tie my shoe. A lot of it been going on in art now. Stephen King wrote a book about it. Couple movies. I know there's some songs, Misty Colored Memories of the Way We Were. Is that the song? I tried to look up eyelashes to see if I could find anything about the mites that live on our eyes. Everything's so in eyelids, eyelashes. What a fearfully and wonderfully made. You got about 200 eyelashes. And they're supposed to be as active as the spiders. There's a horse eye. Pull that eye open. Huh. Eyelashes may become with a parasitic crab louse. You don't want that. Let's see. Now this is a small mite that actually you can't live without it. It only comes out at night and cleans your, if you don't have junk on it, it can clean off your whole eyelash and make you as sensitive as it's not a parasite. It's one of these commensals. And if you live right, eat right, you got a boatload of these things. They're friendly. And it's alive. And it raises families. Buries its dead, I think. And you treat it right, it's not going to excrete waste that hurts you. If you feed it Doritos, I guarantee it, you're going to get that. I'm not saying you're going to get conjunctivitis. That's caused by something else they whipped up for you. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, look, it's a paradox. How come the androgen target organ is the hair follicle? It's not that basically means puberty doesn't affect it. And it's a paradox. It's crazy. They're going like, I don't get it. How come your eyelashes and your hair follicles don't get affected by puberty? It's just weird. And I can't say I figured it out. I can barely figure out what the heck they're talking about. Basically, because they didn't give me a citation at all. I know that this particular domain, the vitellogenin lipid transport domain, is also found in the myosomal triglyceride transfer protein and the polyprotein B. It aids cell trafficking and export of cargo. I was thinking, like, what cargo? But then I couldn't find out because it didn't list any way for me to do it. But now human, see, because this makes egg yolk. Did I tell you that? This is the thing that makes egg yolk proteins. It's not supposed to be in humans, but it is. It is in humans. I was wondering if it was in humans. It's in the honeybees. They can't, it's pretty hard to get any, there's a division of labor. I mean, the healthy honey bee, the birds and the bees. I didn't understand it when my dad was talking about it either. But anyway, I didn't want to get stuck in the juvenile hormone feedback loop. So I just kept reading it. It was about evolution. Juvenile hormones swimming quickly build a new nest. And I was like going, huh? What do you mean? Does it make and my dad was all going like, you don't get it, do you, son? And I was going like, not even a little bit. And then he goes, son, it'll make your sticker peck up. And I was like, what? And he was laughing like a maniac. And I was, it'll make your sticker peck up. I'm like, what the heck? What is he even talking about? Where was I? I was going to show you that thing, right? Oh, here it is in human proteins. We make egg yolks. It's like there's something in our testes that women, men and women have it. But anyway, we shouldn't have it because it has to do with egg yolks in chickens, and nobody even knows which came first. Here's there. You want to see it? It does have a link. It's on the YouTube. You ever heard of YouTube? Here it is. Go. I want to see it. Oh, no sound. Here, you can full screen it so now you can see. There's your human egg yolk. You're part of egg. I guess if you're a woman, you're always going to have more egg yolk. Uh-oh. Good memento. I got a phone call from my man. He hung up. I'm going to call him back. We'll see if maybe he's leaving a message. But anyway, isn't that weird? That's all they got. So today is 322. And I asked it, this computer thing. Here, am I sharing the screen? Yep. Is March 22nd Skull and Bones Day? No, it is not. This date is usually associated with false flags, not Skull and Bones Day. Oh. Oh. Huh. So there's guys saying that it's covert false flag operation day. This is a big one. Wow. That was weird. What do we got here? That was it? That was it for the false flag thing. What's this one? I didn't want to join nothing. So that was it for that one. I had it saved. March 22nd, Skull and Bones Day. The number 322 means it's also listed in the Bible. 322 Genesis False Flag Day from 2017. Covert False Flag Day 2 months ago. Something's going on, but I don't know if it's, something. This is that same day, 2026. I mean, Agenda 2025 is over and it's not 2030, right? There's my thumbnail. The White House is located at that address in Gematria. Biden, Trump, the clocks, Samaritans. Everything's crazy, man. So anyway, it's not like we should give up because God doesn't want us to give up. We know the truth. It's hard. It's going to be hard, but a lot of people are going away. Something's going to happen. The plasma event, they've got them all primed to be living in the cities when the big wave comes, when the fires come, when the EMPs come, when their phones don't work. There won't be water, won't be food, but there'll still be a lot of survivors. And this is what we'll be dealing with. The people who might have believed what they did and wished they could be living in the big city but hadn't made it there yet, or knew the truth and moved out into the country, the Mormon mafias, they're here waiting. They're here planning. They're still doing Freemason meetings, grooming people. The governors of Mexico. One of them sold Epstein the Zorro Ranch, and the other one, Bill Richardson, visited it, and he recommended the president of the university that I go to and live at right now, which is why I'm here, because I was coming back to the San Juan Mountains anyway, because Father told me this is the safe place. Go live your life there for now. So I said, okay, that's usually what I do. It's better to just do what he wants. Trust him. It's good. He is the God of love. It's hard to teach that in a time of the end time judgment. But if you are his, you'll know it in your heart. You'll confess it with your mouth. He is Lord of the flat earth nation, the golden age past. The mud flood was Armageddon. You get the orphan train brain, but it's all coming together. And it's involving something you might not want. Those verses where Jesus Christ said, sell everything and run away. It's better to live than die with your things in the city. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakamed. Adios, amigos. I could go on. I could say goodbye in a lot more languages than that. But I like to end with going, adios, amigos, from the border of southern Colorado.